Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Many years ago, a friend of mine suggested a parenting technique which I found inspirational. They suggested that every night, as I tuck my kids into bed, that I ask them to name 3 blessings of the day. He's already got one going. 3 things for which to be grateful to God. So when we began the practice, my kids struggled to come up with things. Usually they named the pizza they'd had for dinner, or that they played Minecraft all afternoon. But after they got used to it, Duncan and Jax found they could find all sorts of things in their day for which they were grateful. And they could even go beyond the 3. Even when they had a lousy day, they could usually, grudgingly, come up with something. What it taught them, and me, is that being grateful, being intentionally aware of our blessings, diminishes life's difficulties. It puts our challenges in a larger context. Gratitude is not something that you do out of mismanners. It's not just a matter of being polite. Cultivating gratitude is an orientation towards life that offers us wholeness and peace. In fact, we do it for our sake, much more than we do it for others. Thankfulness is a spiritual practice. We all have days when it doesn't seem there's much to be thankful for. Things are rough, we feel alienated, we're anxious about money or loved ones. We're fearful about changes in the church. We're fearful about changes in our society and conflict in our country. We're ill or in pain. How can we offer thanks to God when things aren't going well? Today's gospel is often referred to as Mark's little apocalypse, because Jesus is warning his disciples of terrible things to come. He speaks of earthquakes and wars and famines. It must have frightened the disciples. But Jesus ends his prediction with a promise, something about birth pangs. This lesson reminds me of that wonderful 1960s Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks skit called The 2,000-Year-Old Man. Any of you remember it? I was a kid, so most of you don't probably remember this, but it was a very funny little skit with the two of them. In it, Reiner plays a TV reporter and Brooks plays a 2,000-year-old man. And the reporter is talking to the man and asking him about life back in the day. And the reporter asks, so did you believe in anything? Did you believe in any superior being? 2,000-year-old man said, yes, a guy named Phil. Who was Phil? Philip, the leader of our tribe. He was very big, very strong, a big beard, a big chest, big arms. I mean, he could break you in half. So we did everything he asked. The reporter said, and you revered him? The man said, we prayed to him. Would you like to hear one of our prayers to Phil? Yes, we would. Oh, Philip, please don't take our eyes out. Don't pinch us and don't hurt us. Oh, Philip, don't step on us. Leave us alone. Oh, Philip, amen. Reporter asked, well, how long was his reign? Not too long, because one day, Philip was hit by lightning. And we looked up and we said, something bigger than Phil. Of course, Mel Brooks had a way better delivery, but you get the idea. But oddly, that little scenario actually captures the ultimate message of apocalyptic literature, which is there's something bigger than Phil. There's something bigger than the bad stuff that happens in our lives. And that something bigger is God. Jesus was telling his disciples of these terrible things to come, but he reassured them that they were merely the beginnings of the birth pangs, of something much more wonderful yet to arrive. In other words, yes, Phil is out there, but in the end, God will prevail. And the response to such good news is gratitude. Gratitude that despite all the bad stuff, ultimately, God is in charge. How do we survive loss and pain and fear and all the bad things that life can throw at us? By cultivating a grateful heart, working to see the glass as half full rather than half empty. Gratitude makes us focus on our abundance and not on our scarcity. Where do you put your attention? We can't make bad things stop happening, but what we can do is change our outlook. We can stop focusing on our problems so they use up less oxygen in the room. This is most easily done by being grateful. Remember that God is in charge and that we all that we have and all that we are is a gift from her. This does not mean that we hide from injustices or avoid things within our control. But the dwelling on our abundance and grace, even without diminishing the challenges and hardships, putting our focus on the good can give us perspective and peace. It reframes the issue. Because there's a lot of stuff that we are powerless to change. And just dwelling on machinations on stuff where we have no control just makes it big and it makes us crazy. But changing the subject is always in our power. We can then find rest in the midst of the storm. For instance, today, focusing on our blessings, we are grateful for the gift of children. I love hearing their wonderful little voices and the light that they bring to this day. And we're especially thankful for the life and baptism of little Riley Ray, who's coming up in a few minutes. For me personally, I'm thankful that I'm serving Emmanuel with this great group of people. You all are a blessing to me. Living in a place of thankfulness at all times means we can find good in every situation and try to fill the bulk of our day, maybe not all of it, but the bulk of it dwelling in that space. Anthony DeMello, a Jesuit priest, once famously wrote, "You sanctify whatever you are grateful for." In other words, when we are thankful for all that we see, the world around us becomes holy. And as we approach Thanksgiving in just over a week, let us practice sanctifying all that we see. To find the things for which we are grateful and dwell on them in the midst of fear and in the midst of change, so that we may diminish what is difficult and enhance what is good. Let us take comfort that there's something bigger than Phil, the bad stuff in the world, because ultimately, God is in charge.